it as well. But all right, so welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about this question that I feel like I get a lot, or at least I think about a lot. And the question is, does driving an electric vehicle actually save you any money? And when I mean saving money, does it save you from gas, from maintenance, insurance? That's the tricky one, and all this different stuff. And also how much and how to actually calculate it for yourself. I'll show you kind of the steps in the flow that I go on how to compare an EV usage versus, driving for your gas. And so we'll take a look at some of that as well. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on your Tesla at the best possible price, or just getting really good financing on your Tesla. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description, where you can support and get some benefits, but more on that later. All right, so let's take a look at this. I saw this tweet and it inspired me. So a tweet from Forex Bill Mile Battery Ryan, and it says, quote, Tesla cost of ownership is pretty nutty. And so he brings up how most other car payments have a $1,000 car payment. I don't know about most actually, but maybe other luxury car payments, luxury car payments are $4,000. And then most people, I don't know about $400 a month in gas. That seems a little high, but maybe the average is $400, because maybe during the summer months it was that high, but it's certainly, like, if I was driving a gas car now, it'd probably be like what, $200 to $300 a month in gas. But he's just throwing some numbers out there. A $1,000 ICE car payment plus $400 in gas a month is $1,400 a month. And then, quote, he says, Teslas you could own in this price range, plus what you'd likely spend on charging at $100 a month. Model Y long range, I guess he's throwing out hypothetical payments out there at certain average interest rates, but Model Y long range is $848 a month plus the $100 in charging. Model Y performance, $905. Model S, $1,500. Model X, $1,600. Model Y also qualifies for the $700 federal tax rate, which most of you know. And so that would bring the monthly payment down to $725, for that calculation. And so we're not going to talk necessarily about the payments here, but what I want to talk about is like how much gas savings you'll actually do or get from buying or driving a Tesla versus a regular car. And spoiler alert is, if you drive a Tesla and go to superchargers, the savings is not a lot at all. And so I'll show you exactly how to calculate it. So here's a screenshot from a supercharger. You can see supercharging have various rates. And so really you should not be going to a supercharger for daily use. You should only use it for road trips specifically. Now, I certainly get, like, if you just bought a Tesla and you haven't gotten your charging set up at your house, then, it takes that. I can understand that, like maybe using a supercharger in the meantime, but it can get pretty expensive really quickly. So you can see on the screen right here, it says kilowatt rates per cent is anywhere from 29 cents all the way up to 58 cents. Of course, this is California, so take a look at where you're at depending on to find these rates, but this is how you actually were to calculate it. So the Tesla Model Y, which most people seem to be purchasing or even want to own, has a battery size of 81 kilowatts. So this one, actually, it says 81 here, but it's 74 here. But anyway, let's take an average 75 or 76 kilowatts. So what you do is you type in kilowatt size right here. You type in what's the energy cost, right? So if we take back a look at that screenshot, you can see it's anywhere from 29 cents to 58 cents. So let's just put in the low. Like, let's say you're a good girl or a good boy, and you're able to go to these superchargers at the best times and go. And so to charge up your Tesla Model Y from 0 to 100%, it's going to cost you $22 to fill up every single time. And to go from 0 to 100%, we know it's anywhere from 250 miles. I mean, if we listen to Tapia Andy and like how he's only getting 200 miles on a charge, then maybe it's only 200 miles, right? And if we were to compare that to a gas car, like, let's just take a Lexus ES hybrid that gets 40 miles per gallon combined city. You can start to see where some of these calculations, where you're not going to save a ton of money by switching to an EV, but you might be just saving just a little bit at the end of the day if you're going with a supercharger rate. Of course, charging at home is the best rate, but even then, like if you're in Los Angeles, like kilowatt for rate at home is not that much. So right now it's like anywhere from like 18 to 21 cents. You can fact check me there. But to charge from 0 to 100% for Model Y, that's $16 to go 250 miles, give or take. Of course, that could be certainly cheaper than gas, but it's not like drastically cheaper than gas. But where you do save a lot of money on buying an EV versus other cars or even luxury cars is the maintenance for that. Because there's no oil change, maybe once to twice a year, because Teslas are pretty much bulletproof. There's no oil to change, and there's also no transmission fluid to change. So you can save what this article says that in a BMW oil change can be anywhere from $135 to $175 each time. So you can easily save $300 to $400 easily from a year from not getting any oil changes. The next thing is brake changes. Like, because Teslas and all other EVs have EV regenerative charging, and it's basically slows down once you let off the accelerator, you save on your brakes as well. I mean, this said the labor cost is only $237, and the brake pad replace is only $376 on a 3 Series. I don't believe that. I'm pretty sure a brake pad change, like full labor and everything, is like $1,000 at a minimum, but you basically save over that. But of course, a brake pad replacement on a BMW 3 Series, that's like what, at 50,000 miles? So that's like maybe $250 a year at the end of the day. But the one place where it seems that most people do not save on an EV versus other cars is car insurance. So I do want to put this PSA out there. I try and tell everybody it's at least 10 to 20, maybe even 30% more than your usual insurance. And of course, I actually put a poll out on the channel because I wanted to see how much everybody is actually paying for their insurance. And so it was actually a week ago where I put this poll and I asked the question, how much do you pay for your insurance for your Tesla Model 3 or Model Y? And of course, the overwhelming majority at 31% said $100 to $150 a month. Some said $150 to $250 a month at 20% of the votes, and 6% of the votes said $300 plus. So basically at the end of the day, where you'll save is maintenance. Where you'll save a little bit, not as much if you're supercharging, is supercharging, the EV charging. But where you'll save the most is maintenance, but you probably won't save anything on insurance at all. But I want to give that kind of look at it from that side to show that EVs are great. You certainly will save, but it's not going to be a drastic save at the end of the day. But where you will gain a lot of value back is if you have a commute that's anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour a day, that's highway. Just using the autopilot system, that lane assistance, all that stuff is really good. And once you actually start to drive with it and trust it, you'll get a lot of that time back. I like to tell people that you'll get at least like 50% of your time back, if not even more, where you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy your 1 hour flight to your destination. So let me know your thoughts on it, if you think I'm right on point or if not, or if you think there's other places where you can save as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're saving money and then you're dropping, $1,500 to $5,000 on PPF, or like I just did $1,000 on tint, then maybe not. You're not going to save at all. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know your thoughts on it. Do you think driving EVs is not necessarily a money saving cause, but at the end of the day, because we want to do what's best for you, for us. We want to drive cars that make the most financial sense. And for a while, like when the Tesla Model Y was a $66,000 car, I just could not recommend it in good faith. But now that it's a $55,000 car, it's still very expensive, but it's a little bit easier to recommend it at that, because the numbers might make sense on a monthly basis. And that's exactly what Ryan here from @MillMyBattery was trying to compare. That if you factor in that tax credit, your payment could be super low. You, instead of paying money to monthly gas, you're paying it to equity, I guess, on your vehicle to pay it down, to build value that may be building value, but also could be crashing $13,000 overnight, if you get what I'm saying. But we're going to jump into some of the comments and some of the questions. But before we get into that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you can support the channel. And there's a variety of benefits, but some of them include actually scheduling a call with me where you can ask me any questions about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or even financing a Tesla. And after you join the Patreon, you get a link to my buying guide, which has links to all the resources that I use to get the best possible deal at the best possible price, including a couple credit unions on that list that have rates as low as 2.5 to 3.2% to 4% from 60 to 80 months. So definitely check out if you're interested. Link down below if you want to support the channel. The Patreon link. All right, water break.